Hello, my name is Frances Fox, and I'm glad to be here with you. I have so many things to share today, and they are all either extremely interesting or extremely positive. I'm going to start with the map because I know a lot of you are waiting for it, and yesterday's map was not great, but we did work with it. This is what it looked like, and we did work with it. So, where you see the green, the Nile green, that's because we did a mantra for purifying the depression. These are depressions. These are the petals of the chakras of the country. This is a spiraling black hole. And afterwards, we got heart, etc. So today, the sketch, great. As I said yesterday, the fact that I didn't sketch the Galactic Federation major spaceship on top of the United States was because when I sketch what is important for me to know now. I don't need to know everything. There's a lot of dimensions. So yesterday it was important to know that we were falling into a depression. A lot of it had to do with people trying to create issues between Trump and Elon. And I can see there's kind of like a little repair today of that energy, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that's what's done to us with all of our really important relationships. Interference from the spirit world. So we have the Merkaba, the spaceship, and we have Nile green really anchoring all of the corners. We're back to the green in Florida, which is Helpful Friends section of the map of the United States. That's based on the Bagua, B-A-G-U-A. It's only 3,000 years old. It's the basis for feng shui. Most people don't apply it to countries, but then I do stuff that most people don't apply. They don't apply it to the human body. And when you do that, it gets really interesting because this part of the United States has to do with helpful friends and travel. And in your body, it's your left leg. So if you have issues with your left leg, you're a little bit truncated with travel and you're very truncated with relationships. No, helpful friends relationships. So, and then the Northeast is getting a healing, and that's where we were getting invasions. So this is a good thing. Okay, we have the green pyramids coming up in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. I don't want to be bullied into saying the Gulf of America. And then, and I don't even know what state this is, but there's some red stuff going on there. But I suspect that from here, there is some really god awful energy that we have identified terrible issues in Mexico due to experiments that go on in this state. If somebody can look up which state is this right next to Texas, I'd appreciate it. There's something going on there. They're very angry and I have a question mark. And even if I get the exact details, I'm not going to share them because that's like really dangerous. All these experiments that the military has done without the presidents or different people knowing about them has really been a bottom line for whether we are supported by the Galactic Federation, which are the good ETs. So these things have to stop. And South Carolina had a lot of that going on. And so there you go. Now, it's New Mexico. Okay, it's New Mexico. Okay, so I had a very interesting session every Wednesday. I give a session called Ask Francis in English. People ask me all sorts of questions. So one woman asked, she said, my son woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and he said there was a spaceship over him and he was afraid. And then later on, she said that she woke up at the same time and she could see the spaceship trying to take her child and then she grabbed it, whatever. Before she told me that she had also woken up, I said to her, your son is seeing something that is happening, but let's find out why that spaceship was in your bedroom. And it was the shape of the ones that you see old-time movies where they're the round thing and in silver and it's got the dome at the top. And I think sometimes it has a dome at the bottom also. Anyway, I could see it. And I asked, what is this about? What it was about was that these ETs because there's a ton of, and as many, if not more, good ETs as there are bad galactics. These galactics were trying to put something inside the child that would stabilize him. What they were putting inside him was something similar to or silver, like silver necklaces. I haven't worn this for years. And all of a sudden this morning, I decided to put it on. This is from the Buddhist monks, the only people that do prayers and ceremonies to off planet spirits. Nobody else does them, to my knowledge. And coincidentally, I put this on. So, anyway, that's what I told the woman. And then there were two or three other people in the session that had issues with seeing the spaceships, etc. The information that I got is that we are not ready for disclosure, but it's coming anyway. And it's not really like the government telling us, it's that the presence of the ETs are telling us. And what I said was, you need to educate your children. Most of the people that follow me are families, are family members, the mothers, the fathers. I do get people that are single, but our main thrust that started us was concerned for that our children be okay. And I said, you need to educate the little kids, and you need to tell them that this young little boy saw was not bad. I said, show them the pictures of the spaceships and say they're good ones. And so, when this happens, you just pray, do whatever you want, but you need to know you don't need to be afraid. They're the good ones. But the important point is that the reason that these are my notes. The reason this woman is from Kansas, which there's too much going on in Kansas. Trump, you need to pay attention to Kansas. Too much going on there that has to do with the planet. The woman is from Kansas. So I said to her, the reason these galactics are doing it is to stabilize your child, and it has something to do with something nuclear. And I said, are you near a military base? And she's near a military base, Fort Riggs, I think. According to her, there's nothing nuclear there. But that does not mean there's nothing nuclear there. That only means that there's not like a nuclear power plant that gives power to the surrounding area. Something's going on in Kansas. We have seen it for the last several months in the sketches. So somebody needs to do the investigation, figure this out. It's big enough and important enough that some of the galactics are trying to help to protect us. And I found it interesting that what they were putting in the child was silver, something like silver. And somebody reminded me laughingly that in the 50s, when they did movies about ETs, what they would put on were aluminum foil hats, and on their solar plexus, silver, the color silver. I thought that was interesting. Is that important? Maybe. Maybe it's important. I am giving you information, and then we need to string this all together. But I don't need to do all the work. A lot of you do. What is going on in Kansas that looks like it could upend the entire country? And I would check on it tonight. I wouldn't wait. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the monks and me wearing this. This is a talisman that has bits and pieces of relics and sacred things from Tibet. And again, the Buddhists are the only ones that have prayers to off-planet beings, and nobody asks, oh, why is that? And what else do you know about them? Nobody asks that. This lack of curiosity about what's beyond the borders of the planet is weird. And I know that it has to do with the ability of people to block you. People that are into black magic know how to close your third eye so that you fall asleep. They know how to put veils on so that you don't see things that are right in front of you. My sister did something to me. Let me check and make sure I should say this story. She did something decades ago. She wanted me to remember a particular skill that I have, which I was totally not in contact with, was not interested in. I was too much into my misery of overwhelm, whatever. And basically what she said to me is, you know how to be there and nobody can see you. She had sent somebody to pick me up in the lobby of a hotel, and they didn't find me. And I was right next to the front door, sitting right there. It was not a mistake. She was trying to tell me something. and I didn't get it. I wasn't ready for that. But you can block things with the Higgs field, which you need to learn more about. The point of the matter is that a lot of the issues on the planet has to do with people knowing, beings and people knowing how to put us to sleep, knowing how, oh God, and this is the most important thing I'm going to say. You know that I've been stuck here at home. Okay, so, and I've spent too much time watching tarot card readers online. They don't know who I am. It's actually on my big screen TV. I do other stuff while I'm doing it. A lot of interesting information. Um, and I've realized, with as accurate as they have been about my enemies, the Cuban political mafia that are mercenaries for probably the deep state, and and what they consider my ex, which was my handler for 20 years. Yeah, I guess you could call him my ex. I don't like that, but I guess from their point of view, but they don't see him as anything associated with the government or mind control programs. So all of these tarot card readers, of which there are dozens, I've been here since August 22nd, basically not being able to go out, they never come up with the military stuff. They never come up with the Kennedy connection. They don't come up with any of that. It's like that doesn't exist. And that's not possible with my personal history. Why? I finally asked, how come these people are not coming up with this? They pick up the jealousy from females that are jealous about me, the jealousy about this ex, which was not my ex, he was my handler, the fact that I've been able to block him, but they can't pick up the political stuff, which means that they have learned how to put up a wall to where you can't see it. The card readers, who are very intuitive. But that means that this country has not been able to see it, which is true. So, Trump, you got to get that one figured out. And that wall has to be taken down so that, notice the way I'm doing this, because I actually did take down a piece, but I left a piece in the middle. I'm taking it down now. And I'm going to ask the Mantrista movement to take that down. Because the only way you're going to be able to get control over this is for you to be able to see it. And we can't see it. If that number of really good psychic tarot card readers have not once, that's not really true. In the last month, they've been talking about what they call the ABC agencies, the CIA, FBI, but they're not able to get a lot of detail. They're not, there's a wall there that was let down a little bit, but it needs to all come down. Interesting. I should have documented where it was that they started to talk about the intelligence communities. The intelligence communities in this country could not survive unless they were part of the mind control program. They could not survive unless they were part of the mind control program. Got that? Who's ever listening? Got that? So when you have the kind of battle that we've had with Patel, it's totally understandable. And it's good because he was raised as a Hindi, which means he was raised by people who understand multidimensionality. Mind control is totally multidimensional. Totally multidimensional. You walk around with your body as if you're a free person. I think everybody would have said 30 years ago that I was the most free and independent person that they knew, that I was master of my destiny. No, because your physical body is not the most important part of you. So that being able to have that wall there doesn't mean there's nothing there. By the way, when I train my followers in remote viewing, what I say to them is, if you're not seeing anything, visualize a wall in front of you and walk around it. And that wall would be the wall that was put up by the black magicians, the curanderas. And sometimes they still can't see anything. I said, go ahead and put another 2 or 3 walls, put the wall up, go around it, put up another wall, go around it. And then they're able to see. Those walls that are made out of Higgs field, which means grids, layer after layer after layer after layer after layer after layer, can block you from seeing things. So it's part of the training to know that. Now, if you're really, really good, perhaps you were able to see it even though they had put up a wall. But a lot of times you can't see it because that wall is very real. It's the closest thing that we have to physical reality. Okay, let me keep going because I'm taking a long time. Patel, I think, will come in. I was concerned about him because yesterday I kind of saw that they were going to go after him, being that they couldn't get to Trump. And today I checked, and it basically he has a lot of spiritual protection. Oh, spiritual protection. What does that mean? It means there's spirits, guys. Wake up. Get over your, oh my God, we're talking about spirits again. Get over it. Spirits surrounding this man and protecting him. So I just dropped it. No need to worry, at least at this point. I just have a note here. When you want spiritual protection, you have to ask. It's not automatic. The fact that you're in deep trouble doesn't mean you're going to get protection. It means you have to ask for protection. And then after a while, you have to ask for it again. It's your intention that creates reality. And you can't set an intention and then expect for a week later for that still to be, that vector to still be strong. You have to go back and vitalize it. Okay? You have to ask. One of the laws, one of the rules. Okay, so the good news is, and the funny news is, I got this in the mail today. This is from Health Jackson Urgent Care Hospitals. Where in the history of this planet have people in health advertised? Just in the United States, the most expensive healthcare system on planet Earth, and statistically the most expensive, and statistically the least efficient, the one that delivers the worst health care. There's a study of 17 nations. Every month, every year they do the study again, and we're always at the end. Pay more money, and you're not going to get any healthier. Anyway, they sent me this today. Why am I showing you this? It says, welcome, United Jackson Urgent Care welcomes you to the neighborhood. This is what is sent when you move. When you put in a change of address to the post office, they send you this. My change of address was August 22nd, 2024. I got this, was it yesterday or today? I don't know, because I'm handling too many things. It was today, because if not, it wouldn't be here at the top of the pile. Okay? So my 4 times I requested a change of address, totally ignored it. So apparently the bad times are over. Maybe the court cases that apparently I was in, they didn't want me to know what was going on. Maybe those are over with. Obviously, I'm not in jail or whatever. So I don't know what to tell you, but I will keep you posted. So this came today. And this you usually get within a week of when you move. You're all very familiar with that. So we can throw this out now. So we're doing well. We are on track. Now we get into, obviously, with what went on in my chat, Ask Francis this afternoon at 2:15, because I wasn't ready at 2. We're getting into the, you guys call it disclosure. Are we going to have an orderly disclosure? It's revelations, guys. The disclosure should have been before. Now it's revelations. Is it going to be graceful? If we don't educate the kids, the young people, and we don't give permission to the older people to say what they see, if we don't stop ridiculing people who talk about ETs and spaceships, I mean, talk about spaceships in your neighborhood, the next barbecue. Not going to go well. Not in this country. You go to another country and you say it, it'll be fine. And people start saying, you know what? When I was 12, I saw some. And when I was I said, but not here, because this is not, I mean, modern, updated, well-to-do people with education. They don't believe in that stuff. The government sold that and drummed it into us so much that it's still there. I can tell you that 20 years ago, the government started a process. Maybe it wasn't 20 years, maybe it was 15. You can find the date, and I'll tell you the date. When that astronaut put out his book about, I don't remember which astronaut it was, but they did a press thing where they took him around to all the big shows. He had his little handler there because he's an old man. And he was talking about the spaceships and everything. And he talked about the space babies, which would have been the kids like me that were trained to be able to speak to off planet. Did that go anyplace? It was the government trying to tell people. Nope, did not make a dent. The disinformation on spaceships was so big. So now you need a campaign to change that. And it cannot be just aging astronauts who we would appear to have found out that landing on the moon was a trick. So if you're putting out astronauts, I don't think we're going to really be believing them because they already said they saw beings and nobody picked up the ball and ran with it. So somehow you're going to have to figure it out and really quickly because we already have an issue of so many people losing their jobs or worried about losing their jobs. Then you have millions of illegal aliens and their family members in panic attacks because of deportations. And then the money that they sent home to their family or that they lived on that they earned here, da, 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 da. That's millions and millions of people. On top of that, you cannot have a spaceship landing on the lawn in Washington, D.C. Now, why am I saying that? I have no idea. That just came out of the top of my head. You can't have that. You have to have the people primed and prepared. And I think, do I have any thoughts on that? I don't really, other than to say they're the only people that through the 30 some years that I've been watching how everybody handles other dimensional stuff, the only people that deal with off planet are the Buddhists. Now, can you ask them a question? No, they don't answer questions, which is probably a good idea. They can't ruin their reputations. It's also the only group that in all the years that I've been dealing with shamans and other religions in my quest to find answers, it's the only group that is not moved by money. If you offer them money, it doesn't make any difference to them. Now, if you get at a higher level to where they have to organize things and pay for it, no, that's not true because the people that do that are not the monks. When you're dealing with the monks, you're dealing with people that are not moved by the things that have basically trashed other religions. So what am I saying? I have a proposal to bring in the Buddhism. No, I do actually would like help in getting in a particular tantric Buddhist monk that can help. And his associate. And it would be lovely if we could bring in, so I'll tell you the story because it's cute, and then we'll go on to a mantra. I was bringing in groups of Buddhist monks to do mandalas, those sand things that are done where they do a work of art. They take from Monday through Friday, 7 hours a day. They're putting grains of sand and they build a mandala to whatever Buddha you've asked for, if it's prosperity, if it's protection. And I brought in group after group. I paid for one for my ex-daughter-in-law, and for myself, and then Puerto Rico, and then Venezuela. And one of my clients paid for one for Peru, and then I paid for another one for Peru because I got a big contract there. And I said that I would support my work with this big contract having to do with some natural resources, that I would support it with bringing in the monks and doing a mandala before I even started the contract. And I did. So I spent a lot of times with monks in my house. They actually suggested I turn my house into a monastery. They were really feeling at home with me. It was such a pleasure to watch them get into the swimming pool. I would say to them, listen, I'm going to retire to my room. Here's the house, do whatever you want, the swimming pool, do whatever you want. They had such a good time. They play like little kids. Monks know how to play. They love basketball, by the way. So anyway, I think all of them. So one of the last times that I had them in, and I may have said the story before, but I'm going to say it again. I had been asking the geisha, who I respect totally, for help with Venezuela that had black magic on the entire country. Okay, so you may not know that can be done to a country, but it can, and it is. And that leaves us limping in terms of a lot of stuff because we don't know half of what's going on if you're a diplomat and you don't know this kind of stuff. So I said, listen, we want help with this country, but it's black magic. And the monk would not The geisha would not respond because they don't respond. They just continue. And I'm used to it. But one of the mandalas that I had the last morning that we were having breakfast, that they were leaving because they had finished, this particular geisha said to me, "Listen, Francis, we're listening to you." Ah, he heard me. No response, not even a flicker when I asked them 20 times. He said, "The problem is that we're not those kind of monks." What kind of monks? He said, "We don't do that kind of purification. For that, you need tantric monks." I went, "Okay, then get me some tantric monks down here." And you know what? They did. The next time I brought them in, which was for Venezuela, they sent me a tantric Rinpoche and the monks. It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And it was, you know what was really sweet, in addition to the fact that the Black Magic in Venezuela was released, was really sweet, was the young monks kind of knew what was going on. And so let me say it here. The first day, remember, it's 5 days in which they build a sand mandala. It's a piece of art. It's usually done at the openings of universities and libraries and big things. They're not cheap, but they're worth it. So these young monks were thrilled. Actually, they loved, let me get it a second. I should have one right here, but I don't. By the second day, they were wearing this mala, which is the one that we give away to when people purchase products and whatever. And I thought, wow, that's a big statement that they would take off their prayer beads and put mine on. These are made out of wood that's very inexpensive. And I was like, this is interesting. The first day of that construction of the mandala, which I want to do for the United States, and I can pay for the mandala, what the heck? But I can't get those monks in. It's beyond my resources, my ability to take care of the paperwork necessary to get them in. These monks were already here, brought in by Emory University, whatever. So I was very happy to see this because it was a reflection on us. They believed in what we were doing as a group, the Manchester movement. And then the end of the first day, there was news that hit, world news that hit, that they had found the dictator of Venezuela in a very, very expensive restaurant eating very expensive meat. And he was asked, he was covered by the news that day, that Monday, what about his people? They couldn't eat expensive meat. They didn't have meat. And okay, so that's fine. That's whatever. But the Venezuelans that were there witnessing the making of the mandala said, "Oh my God, the mandala worked. This has been happening forever. This is the first time the entire world is finding out about the fact that we don't have meat and that our dictator is living high on the hog, etc." And they attributed it to the making of the mandala. I do not know if it was a direct universal response to the mandala, but it was very sweet and very nice. But my real point for making this comment is the joy in the eyes of these monks, these tantric monks, the joy of them being able to actually see and hear the effects of the work that they were doing. Those are the monks that I want to bring in, not just monks, not just any monks, not just any geisha, not just any Rinpoche, but one that is totally operational, understands the level at which I would want them to work, which is at the deepest level. So that's my petition. I'm throwing it out there to the universe. It has to be somebody way up there to be able to make this happen because they're not in this country. They're in India. They're not prohibited from coming, but you need visas. You need plane tickets. Place to stay. They'll actually sleep any place. One time they were close by, and I was called by the person that was handling their travels and said, they're going to be close to Miami. I'd love for them to see Miami. Can you handle them? And I said, I live in a very small place. She said, well, you know them. They bring their sleeping bags and they'll lay any place. And I said, under those conditions, they can come. very small house, and there were 9 monks. They were sleeping on top of the table in the backyard, on all the furniture that was under a covering, but they were still outdoors. They were sleeping all over the house, and they were very, very happy. They're very easy to be with. I don't need to tell you that. They're very easy to be with, and they have a lot of joy. They have a lot of joy. Somebody is saying to visualize them coming. I can actually see the Rinpoche here because I will be moving from here as soon as Patel is very much in his place, and I find out that I can go someplace else. Because as usual, when I move someplace, and I think people cannot understand why I've moved so much, but it does take them a little while. My enemies, the Cuban political mafia, the Cubans that were trained as mercenaries after the Bay of Pigs. It's a particular group of Cubans. I'm Cuban. I'm not talking about me. Okay? I'm talking about a particular group, and it's very easy to identify. When I move, it does take them a little while to organize themselves. They have to find out the people right next to me, who's going to be vulnerable to blackmail or to bribes, and then they have to rent places, and then they bring in all sorts of equipment having to do with the psychotronic weapons. I mean, the place that I lived in before this, I used to say, listen, you know how you have rideshare and you're going kind of the same place, so let's take the same car. No problem. I said that they should do that, having to do with monitoring me, that they should get the cameras that they have up around me, and they should do, what would they call it, camera share? Because there were several ABC departments that were monitoring every step of the way, and they all had their cameras up. So I said, why don't they just, instead of having however many cameras they had up, I have no idea, just share the information, be, bueno hermano, that means good brothers and sisters. But it does take them a little while to get themselves organized. So I need to see when this guy is strong enough, Patel, that I can move, because I live in Miami, and that it doesn't matter how long they have, it'll be harder for them to collect themselves. And this time I need to move. Who knows where I need to move? But we're talking tomorrow. We're talking potentially tomorrow. I did notice something today, and here we're going into my personal stuff. You know that the issue was that I was sex trafficked with Kennedy when I was under 14 years of age, which means child sex trafficking. I do not believe he knew how old I was. Got it? He spoke to me as an adult, like 18, 19, 20, and I certainly looked like that. I had been around the block by that age. I had seen too much, and that kind of shows, whatever. So there's been an issue with this Cuban political mafia, who were the ones who took me there, with them wanting me gone, dead, whatever, or under their control, to where I'm going to say what they would want me to say, which is what they finally realized they were going to have to do, because I don't know if they thought they had me that much under control. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the trick of the matter is that today I could hear them speaking, and what they were saying is that I'm not that important anymore. Okay, well, that's not a slap to my self-esteem. It means that I might be able to actually have a life. What they were saying was that there were people amongst their group that were already talking. So it really didn't matter what I say, because their own people were talking. So I'm having a party later on tonight. What time is it now? It's 7:35. I have a Mantrista chat at 8. 9:30, I'm having a party to celebrate that maybe I am going to be a free person, but maybe it'll be quicker than I think. So congratulations to those of you from the Cuban mercenaries. What is this, a white flag? I guess I'm doing a white flag. That have decided to give up. And maybe you should tell people about the circumstances under which they turned you from a normal person into an animal. Because that is the whole mind control thing. You end up being something that you are not. Are you listening, Trump? That's why you have to have an understanding of consciousness, an understanding of good and evil at the deepest level. It's really, really important, because if not, the battle just continues. Dark against light. And the battle at this point is not supposed to be dark against light. It's supposed to be the ending of the battle between dark against light It's supposed to be an integration of dark and light. But that doesn't happen at the physical body level. You need to know more about consciousness. By the way, I was really happy Trump was talking wonderful stuff about the economy and about people buying into the United States. So I'm working to get the stress management program together at a national level. I, by the way, have went to on a mini vacation with my assistant many years ago and said that in the future I wanted to work with governments and to help them, to help their people deal with stress, with whatever they're coming up against in terms of prosperity, in terms of whatever it is that the country would be going through, political turmoil. At that point, I had not discovered the fundamental structure of the universe, and I did not understand about the most important step, which is creation, which I know now. You have to handle your negative emotions, and you have to have discipline in your thoughts. And then you have to understand that if you could do that, you purify the emotions, and your thoughts are vectors. They can be vectors, and you have the discipline to sustain and vitalize that vector. You can get anything you want. So I've wanted to work with government. So I'm putting together the program, which is basically stress management program for the corporate level, and then some modifications that are not that big, and then a language that would stop people from accusing me or whoever hires me in the government from trying to shove spiritual or religious stuff down their throats. It's not what we're doing. Not what we're doing at all. We're not going to be marketing anything spiritual. We're going to be working with things that actually work. Anyway, it's getting exciting. Okay? Very good. Let's do a mantra. And what should the mantra do? We did really well yesterday with the mantra on the depression. Wonder what's happening in New Mexico. But we don't want to go there. I actually, somebody, Savvy Mantrita, is saying that she sees the monks here. Oh, when she said that, I went off on the moving. The trick is that I have a year's lease. And so if I move, I still have several months to go. I've been here since August the 22nd. And I thought, okay, well, I get stuck with two mortgages, not two mortgages, two rents. I haven't bothered buying anything because I've known that until this political issue gets resolved, the longer I am in one place, the more they're able to organize many people around me. Okay, most of those people really don't know what the heck they're doing. The ones that turn against me or inform on me, they just think it's like, you know what they think? They're fighting communism. Can you believe that? They're fighting communism, and I am trying to destroy a very loyal group of Cubans that are trying to fight Castro and communism. Castro died years ago, guy. Yeah, well, his brother, didn't he die also? Yeah, well, give me a break. But they buy it. They also say that I'm going to destroy the Cuban reputation. If you listen to me, I'm not destroying the Cuban reputation, okay? I am identifying, and the only more I can do is to give you names. Why would I do that? It's very easy to know who it is. Look up Bay of Pigs and the guys that were there, and then they got later on enlisted in the U.S. Army. Track that. So let's go ahead and do a mantra that's a little bit more fun. I'm really happy. I actually like my apartment. Oh, I didn't finish the statement. I'm very ADD. And my blouse is again asymmetrical, which means my body is asymmetrical, which means my mind is not symmetrical, but my eyebrows are across from each other, so we're okay. When I was talking about this house, this apartment, I could see the monks here. So I move, and then they can be here. This is good. Okay, let's do the mantra. The mantra is going to be, oh my God, today in Ask Francis, and I'm going to do it in English, but I'm just afraid of getting trashed if I do that session in English and people ask stuff that doesn't. But you know what? I think I will start it. So today, what I've picked up in that session was that we have black magic, a galactic black magic done on all of us, because they know how to do it on the whole planet. They're really good. Um, and they put a layer of Higgs field, that grid, between our third eye and our crown chakra, which means we cannot, because you're supposed to be able to travel up your center and reach God, reach spirituality, reach the sacred. But if you have a fencing at any point, it stops you. So they put that up so we don't have, and this center axis, which is the tunnel with white light, is also an exit point where you can leave if you need to leave. We're trapped. We're trapped into this physical reality, which is the least good of all the realities we live in. We cannot escape, and we don't have connection to the sacred. So anyway, I'm going to be removing that. But why am I saying that? The Om mantra, Om, is the one that opens and energizes the center axis, which is where you get those vectors, Elon. I got to talk about Elon for a minute because I figured something out. So we're going to do the Om mantra in a minute. But before, one of the reasons I haven't talked a lot about my friend Elon, who I do not speak to, but he's absolutely my friend. And I think a lot of us feel that way about him. That's the whole thing with these new type people. They're a person, but they're not really. They're more than that. And so we can, all of us, or many of us, feel like he's listening, and he is. So I've been worried because he's working too hard. And I am Cancer. That's mother energy. He does not need any more mother energy. His mother is enough. So I haven't wanted to say anything until I actually had some kind of a solution that I knew that he would pay attention to, because he's super busy. Elon, I would like for you, and they have them in Washington, D.C., I'm sure. They have them in every major city. There's something called a SALT room, SALT room. You go and you pay not a lot of money, and you just lay there in a comfortable lounge chair, and then they give you headphones. Do not use the headphones. Leave all your electronic devices outside of the SALT room. Just lay there for an hour or two. Check yourself before you go in, and then check and see your mind and your level of exhaustion when you come out. What am I talking about, Elon? You are a man of the stars, but you maybe don't know that if you are not very grounded on planet Earth, you're not going to be able to reach very high. It's like a law. Who made that law? I have no idea. It's a natural law. You're getting ungrounded because you're too tired. You don't have enough contact with nature. You have too much to do. This is understandable. But if you integrate SALT rooms into your life, you're going to be able to do everything that you're doing, and it's also going to help to catapult you to where you want to go off planet. It's a law. If you're not grounded, you can't go further up. SALT rooms. I see you putting in SALT rooms in your companies, like maybe the cafeteria being a big SALT room. The floors are made out of salt. The walls are made out of salt. You are adding the element of earth. And that is the element that is protective. That is the element where the spirits cannot play. They cannot handle the earth element. So the bad entities that would want to interfere with you, Elon, and all the rest of us, they can't interfere if you have enough of the earth element. Salt is earth element. So I see you, and I'm not instructing you to do this, but I see you seeing the effect and going, wow. And by the way, all your kids, all of our kids need to be in SALT rooms. The one here in Fort Lauderdale has a little room for the little children that have ADD, or they're overexcited, or they're depressed, or whatever, and they just throw the kids in there, and they're different, because you cannot be healthy, physical, emotional, spiritual, astral, unless you have your elements balanced. So I'm identifying the problem, Elon, which you already probably know. Oh, I think one of the things that triggered this is too many psychics are seeing Elon in a hospital bed. I don't like that. We don't need that, and we can avoid it. That, by the way, is why psychics exist, to tell you where you're going to end up if you don't get off that road or you don't make a change. You can do it with the SALT rooms. You can continue with this incredible level of work and gift that you're giving to all of us, and not have it cost you your health. Okay? SALT rooms. I actually was going to build one in my last house, but of course, the Cuban mafia, I moved. But when I buy a home again, I am going to build an assault room because it will change your life. It will keep you more productive. It'll keep you happier. And by the way, planet, if you don't have enough of the earth element, you lose your sexuality. And I believe that's one of the reasons why the ETs don't have sexuality, but they don't have the earth element. When you are in a park, in the mountains, whatever, your sexuality augments. You need the earth element. And okay, wait a second. Okay, what is orgasm? Orgasm is taking your consciousness and bringing it through the center axis. All the doors, all the walls, everything opens up. And for a minute, you connect with God. You will be more sexual. You'll have better orgasms if you have more of the earth element. And that connects to the whole thing about getting off planet. And now my last statement about off planet. That plane that flipped over, that was not a natural occurrence. And if you wait 1 second, I'm going to ask the dolphins what happened, because I don't want to just leave that in the air. I'm going to ask them right now. Because there's a message there. Okay. Okay. I asked the dolphins. The plane flipping over, very unnatural. But I asked them, what about that? And they said it's the ETs reminding humans of their power. And that's what it felt like to me. But I needed to verify it with this. So I think it's very important, Elon and anybody else who has to do anything with something that gets up off the ground and might get off planet, you have to be very, very rooted and grounded. And the salt rooms are going to take care of that. Oh my God, I came up with a solution that's simple, that's right there. If somebody is being hateful, throw them in the salt room. Earth and water put out fire. You can't be hatred unless you have too much fire. So throw earth on them like a campfire, or throw water on it and you'll put it out. The kids are anxious and ADD. If they're ADD, they don't have enough of the earth element. If they have autism, the salt rooms should be incredible for them. So I'm going to get off of that. Let's go ahead and do the Om for 3 or 4 minutes, because I have so much to share. So you are going to just do Om. Just do the Om. And I will put on the mantrista music that was composed for your crown chakra, for the Om. Okay? Just do Om and just How do you feel? You can do the Om mantra all day long. It takes a while to get used to it. You keep forgetting, you keep forgetting, you keep forgetting. But if you put little post notes around Om, it makes a really big difference in how you feel. And it not just vitalizes your center axis, your causal body, where your intentions are from incarnation to incarnation, it widens it, which means you're getting a lot more sacred energy. Okay? So it's a good suggestion, especially now that our enemies from off planet have this new plan to block the flow of energy in it so that we don't have a way of reaching what is sacred. Okay? Thank you for joining me. Bye. Visualize the monks here. They're fun. They actually are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun. Bye.